how should believers view money and the money that we have? Like just a mindset shift of, doesn't necessarily matter if you have a lot or not, be like, how do we view it? And I think the answer to that question is we view it as the Lord's. Welcome back to the Outnumbered podcast with Joey and Alleigh, where we talk about our life with kids, our careers, what it's like to be outnumbered by our children, going from high school sweethearts to where we are now. So that's what this podcast is all about. But today we're talking about money.
Yes. More specifically, like how to live more frugally as things get more expensive.
Yeah. How do you cut back? How do you take care of the resources that you have and steward things well, and a lot more. So we have 5 points that we'll go through today. But first, disclaimer, we are not financial experts or formally trained.
That is true.
Yeah. We're just going to talk about the things we've learned in 8 years of marriage and adding kids, so adding mouths to feed, and what we've had to do to make sure that we're stewarding our money well. And so we'll just talk about what works for us and things that we've learned from the Lord recently about our money and mindset and all of that. So let's get into it. What's number one?
Number one is it matters where you shop. I think like right now, especially like something that like our generation has to deal with that like wasn't really a problem or wasn't really a factor in previous generations, is that we're constantly like seeing what people purchase and
because people
being
post about
influenced or trying to be influenced as to like, you know, to make you purchase it as well.
Pressure to buy certain things.
Yeah, and I think like that
like a certain type of water bottle.
Yeah, it's like if you don't buy that water bottle, you're not cool or whatever. So I think like that's a different aspect of like our lives currently that didn't come into play like even 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I think like so often it's like pressure to like buy like name brands.
I think there's always been pressure to have name brands.
I think I think so, but I think it's more in your face now than ever. I think just name brands, I think it's such of a pressured thing to like buy certain name brands. Sometimes I think that is the better choice, in that if it's something you need to like last a while or you need something to be quality, it makes more sense to like buy the real thing versus buying 5 of the fake thing that then equals the same amount.
Sometimes the fake thing is just as good as the name brand.
Sometimes it is. And so I think like that's where like you just have to use discernment. But I think like just buying the name brand just because it's popular isn't going to get you very far.
Yeah. Release yourself from the pressure of needing to buy what everyone else is buying.
I think too, on top of that is like there's such a stigma. I feel like it's going away, but like I remember growing up like buying things from the thrift store was like,
well, so talk about that.
Weird.
So speaking of name brands, like I was with the thrift store thing, I was going to say, I think you buy like all of our kids' clothes at thrift stores.
I do.
And you find a lot of name brands.
That's true. I do. Yeah. But I think
way cheap.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. Just shopping around and, like buying things from Walmart versus like Target or Whole Foods, like just buying things, like you can still find quality stuff, but like buying things from Walmart, maybe it saves you like $1 per item or 50 cents, but like it really does add up. And I feel like a lot of the Walmart stuff these days is better, I think, than Target, just like way cuter.
Yeah. So again, but you might have to like release yourself from I'm not shopping there.
Yeah. The expectations of like you can still buy nice things that function well. But I think also like currently with Amazon specifically, I feel like it's expected that you just like buy new everything. Like, oh, I need this thing to solve this problem, I'm just going to go buy it on Amazon real fast. But like you think back to like the way like our grandparents were, like they would look around and think, okay, what do I have that I could use in some creative way to fill that purpose? So rather than just like impulse buying it brand new because you can, like how could you maybe skip buying that item by utilizing something you already have, or shifting, creating something from something you already have, kind of getting more creative.
Resourceful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think also we kind of touched on this, but like just knowing that like your identity doesn't lie in like what you buy or what you wear. Like wearing Lululemon, for example, doesn't make you a better person, or like make you cooler. Yeah, I think like impulse buying though. I read something the other day that said if you want to buy something wait like 24, 48 hours before you do it. But also I saw something else that was really smart because I kind of got into this habit. I think especially like leading up to a trip, I'd be like, oh, we need this. Like just go order it on Amazon. And then I'd like a couple hours later, next day, whatever, like, oh, we need this. So just order it on Amazon. And they were like, set a day for Amazon, like Saturdays, you'll place your Amazon order so that it's never impulse. It's like, put it in your cart maybe, but like think about it and then don't purchase anything till Saturday. So you can kind of like think through it or whatever day, but think through it. And like, it's not so much like an emotional, like real quick decision. It's like, let's think about it. And then by the time that day comes, most likely you're gonna be like, oh, I actually don't really need that anymore. Or I don't really want that anymore because it's been a few days, you know?
Yeah. And on the resourcefulness thing, I like that one a lot too, because you think, oh, we need that, need to replace it. But like talk about what you've been doing with Ezra's pajamas.
Oh.
Because he's the third kid, so it's a lot of hand-me-downs.
His pajamas all had like holes in the toes.
His big toe kept poking through.
Yeah, and I was like, he needs new pajamas. And then I was like, you know what? No, he doesn't. Who cares? I just cut all the feet off of the jammies.
The jammies.
Yes, the jammies. And now I think he actually likes them better because he has like more room to move and they breathe better because his feet don't get hot.
And they're pajamas. No one sees them.
Yeah, no one sees. Well, that's not true. We do sometimes.
If we change him before we leave the house, then no one sees him.
Yeah.
But
so anyway,
so you
it was
saved
something
a bunch
I was
of
probably
money.
going to spend $30-$40 on, and then I was like, well, we'll just wait. And
you did the same thing with Miles' pants. You turned them into shorts.
Yes, every summer they all have holes in the knees, and we just chop them off, and they're cute. I think.
So you have a bunch of new shorts because his pants.
Every summer. Yeah. Adler will never have pants that he grows into, but.
There's some tips for hand-me-downs with your kids' clothes.
Yeah.
So
I think just the last thing on that is like fix things you can fix. Like I think we're so quick to throw away like, oh, this has a hole in it, or the button fell off, or you know, whatever, like just get rid of it when, okay, how hard is it really to fix a button? And it's one thing if you just don't like the item, like you don't want it, but if you liked it and you wore it and it would be useful, like just fixing things rather than just so easily like tossing them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 2. Oh, now we get to talk about food.
Groceries.
And the great Costco debate.
Yes, we always go back and forth with Costco because yes, you get a better deal. Yes, you get more food. But my theory is that if we did not go to Costco, we would spend significantly less money on groceries. We would
also live a more sad life.
Yeah, you just like it for the activity.
It's an experience. We go with the kids, and on a Saturday when it's crowded and there's lots of samples, and we hit every single sample.
Yeah.
And the kids love it, and I love it, and it's an experience. I know, but the samples are
free, so really,
but I'll also say, I think we've gotten a lot smarter with how we shop there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key with that place because you put like 4 things in your cart,
and they're $20 each, and yeah.
But like. The produce is a great deal. The fruit, our kids eat so much fruit.
Well, some of the produce. I feel like you don't need to spend $15 on
You spend like $2 for like 8 bananas.
Yeah, no, the bananas are dirt cheap. I feel like our staples are bananas, apples. We like their butter.
But just realizing you don't have to get everything there. And I
maple syrup.
With our kids is they eat more like they eat a lot of fruit. And so fruit's a good deal there. So I think it's worth it to go for those things. And gas,
I think it's those little things though, like maple syrup, butter, like things that are like cheaper but like last a little longer. I feel like when we buy certain things there, yes, you get more of it, so maybe it's still a good deal. But then you have more, and so then you're like, oh, we have plenty of it, we'll just eat more of it. Right. And then I don't feel like it really lasts you.
You just need to like hide half the box.
But somewhere. Then we're hungry.
Ration it out. But with food, I say for us, when it comes to groceries, and I think that's the hot topic currently because like people have seen grocery prices going up in the last couple of years as inflation goes up, and so that's something that people talk about a lot is how expensive groceries are. And I think for me there's this kind of difficult pull between like wanting to eat healthy in a certain way with standards and food and where it comes from, but then also like not spending a ton of money. So talk about that a little bit because like I think that's something that we kind of not struggle with, but think about a lot is we want to eat a certain way, but we also have to stick to a budget when it comes to groceries. So
yeah, well, I think like typically like fresh foods like produce and
real food.
Dried pasta, like that kind of stuff is typically the cheaper stuff. So if you I think right now it's really like I heard it was like trending on TikTok, but like ingredient household, like people that are talking about how as kids they had no snacks in their house, which I feel like this was my house, but now it's our house. But like you didn't have snacks growing up. It was like if you wanted something, you had to make it. Like you have the ingredients, but you have to make it. You can't just like pull it out of the bag. And I feel like that honestly is such a cheaper way to live though, because snacks add up so fast.
Like prepackaged, processed
but
stuff.
like, buying like, I don't know. I don't know that I would go this far just because I feel like a bag of popcorn like is not that expensive, but like buying the kernels to like pop it yourself to have a snack. Or
like a jar of applesauce versus pouches of applesauce.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're way easier.
They're easy for on the go. I think there's a line of like convenience versus like there are certain times you splurge on convenience, but I think our whole life shouldn't be like our whole food life shouldn't be convenience, but because like, that's not going to be
I'll give
doable.
Our kid just grab an apple, give him half an apple instead of an applesauce pouch, and they like that too.
They also prefer to eat half the apple and then drop it on the floor and then throw it away and get another one. Don't give them a whole
apple, give them half an apple.
No, I know. Okay, but anyway, I think like focusing on ingredients and not like pre-made stuff. You know, like a bag of like oats is not very expensive, but honestly goes a really long way and is really filling.
Oatmeal packages that you can buy.
Yeah, much cheaper.
Yeah.
But I think also like there's this one Instagram account that I follow that talks about just eating real food, and it's like they don't do complex recipes. Like you don't need 30 ingredients for a recipe. It's literally like just eat food. Like make a protein, make a carb, just eat food. Like it doesn't have to be like a technical meal
with a fancy name.
Yeah, it doesn't have to have a name. Like it can just be food, which I thought was just so eye-opening and makes it so much easier. It's like, okay, we have chicken, we have potatoes, and we have broccoli. Like perfect. You know, it doesn't have to be fancy. I feel like one trick that we have been doing recently is when we go out to eat, I feel like it's $50-$60, like for all of us at least.
If the kids each get something, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing we've been doing is Kevin's from Costco. Kevin's is the best. Okay, we buy the Kevin's things because they're like $13 to $15. Depends on if it's like chicken or steak or whatever. But they're like super clean. They're pretty clean and like super yummy, and they take 3 minutes to put together.
And one trick is we add rice.
We add rice, like the pre-made rice from
like,
Trader Joe's.
It's usually a meat and a sauce is what it is. So we'll add rice and it goes way further.
Yeah, but it like keeps us from going out to eat and spending like way too much money.
Yeah, those days where it's like, we need dinner
5
o'clock.
Now.
We've been running around all day. We need to eat. And so a lot of times we just go get something.
Yeah,
like,
which then
we have Kevin's
$50.
at home. We can just do that.
Yeah. So we've been like building that in almost to like remove our like eating out, or we add it to our eating out category. So it's not from our grocery expenses. It's like eating out technically, but it's not. And honestly more enjoyable than trying to eat out with all our kids. I feel like that saves us a lot of money, and it's yummy. You're not like...
And that's Costco. So
that is Costco. No, I'm not saying Costco's bad. I'm just saying I think we go to Costco and we like have like this many things, and it's like, $120.
You just have to be careful. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be so, I feel like, particular about what you get, and try to aim for things that are like under $10 versus like 15 to 20. But then I feel like Trader Joe's is the best in terms of... I feel like that's probably controversial.
Well, that's completely different because you're getting such a smaller quantity.
You are, but I'm just saying, I feel like we still have plenty of food.
Yeah.
And it's a much cheaper price point.
Sure.
So yes, you're not getting bulk, but I don't feel like the bulk really serves us that well anyway sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes the bulk, like you get some bulk and then half it ends up being moldy because you didn't go through it fast enough.
Right. Like there are certain things like, yes, the zucchini, the huge bag of zucchini is $5, but moldy.
Or those carrots, they started sprouting.
Yeah, well, we accidentally bought like 3 of them over time, not knowing we still had like 2 in the fridge.
And then Miles was like holding a carrot and he's like, "Can I eat this?" And it had like roots sprouting out of it, and it was slimy. And I was like,
I don't know what that means, but
I don't know.
Probably not.
Go plant it in the ground, see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's good. Anything else on that? Groceries and food and...
I think just like having a list before you go and just not...
maybe being willing to go to different places and...
Yeah, but I think also like going too many places, I don't know that really saves. I think sometimes we think like, we like to get this thing from here and this thing from here. But I think sometimes like simpler the better. But having a list going in and like not... Like maybe you pick one extra thing, but don't like pick an extra thing every aisle. You know, that's going to really add up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there's like one method necessarily, but those are things that I feel like have worked for us.
Yeah, cool. Number 3?
Budget.
Gotta have a budget.
That probably should have been the first.
Yeah.
But they weren't necessarily in priority order.
I would say our last one's the most important. But other than that, take them. No, number 5 is the most important.
Oh, yes, you're right.
We're getting to the most important.
I thought you meant the second one.
But the first 4 are in no particular order. But budgeting is important. We've talked about it a little bit. I used to run the budget. You're way better at it. You do it now. I
think like there's that stigma of like the men do the budgeting and the women have to call to ask permission to spend money.
I don't know if everyone feels that way. We felt that way. But yeah, now it's the other way around and it's worked way better for us.
Well, yeah, just in that like I just don't think like I really enjoy like the process of like allotting money to certain things.
I did not.
You didn't really enjoy it. But I also like can get really like obsessive about like where's that going, you know? And so I don't know. It's just like a big game for me. It's fun.
It's been probably a year now of you doing it, and I think it's been a lot better for us financially and probably better for our marriage. I think we've had less tension or disagreements about money since you've taken it over.
Well, also I'm the one that like spends all the money in that like I'm buying diapers, I'm buying groceries, so like before I had no idea what was even going on.
Yeah. That's true.
Because you were managing it, but I was the one spending it. So we didn't have like a lot of communication on that. And I think it makes more sense for us that it's me because I'm the one dealing with it all. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think like tracking your money is important. I feel like we looked back on things like, oh, remember when we got that chunk of money or whatever? And we're like, I don't know, like what did we do with it? I don't know. And maybe we did something important and we just can't remember. But I think
but now your things you
for
track
a long time, for a long time, we just kind of didn't. We were just kind of passive with our money. I don't think that's a really good way to be, but I think also like it's something you have to learn. You have to like come to and figure out. And I think just in the last year and a half, like I feel like we've really started to like learn kind of how to handle money and like what it should look like and what our posture should be and how to be frugal. Yeah. I don't know.
So just talk briefly because we have talked about it before, but just what you do budget wise.
So we've been using the Every Dollar app, which is the Dave Ramsey thing, but it's free. You don't need the premium version. Every dollar needs to be assigned to a category. So there's nothing, it's not like, oh, we have 400 left over. It's like, no, but where's it going? You know, like, is it going in savings or are you putting it towards something or, you know, what is the purpose of it? It can't just like be extra because that's not beneficial. Mm-hmm. And then you just spend it most likely. So I think that's been really helpful for us because it also tells us like, okay, where do we have gaps or where do we have excess or, you know, whatever. And you can adjust it as you go through the month. Maybe you had extra or you allotted a certain amount and you didn't spend that.
So you kind of redo it each month? I
redo it like throughout the month because
adjust it,
like maybe we planned on, I don't know, $100 for diapers and then we only spent 90 or whatever. So then you could take that 10 and put it elsewhere. And it seems, I feel like you think like, oh, $10, that's nothing. But if you do it 10 times, it's 100. Yeah. I feel like that's something I've been having to learn is sometimes I feel like it's only beneficial if I'm putting like 200 or 300 or 400 into savings but like the little numbers do count and they add up.
Yeah. So if you do have like 10 extra dollars a month, you'll like put it in savings?
Yeah. I mean, if that's how it works out. That's cool. I think that's just kind of always adjusting. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also something you have to be like paying attention to throughout the month. Like
so
you have to check on it every couple days.
It's important for people to spend some time tracking their money and knowing where it's going. And that's being a good steward of what you have.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think like checking in on it like once a week even, like just to see like where are we at.
So for you, now that you've done it, would you say, is there a line where you feel like, oh, I'm obsessing over this or I have a good amount of awareness? Like, is there a balance between I need to be aware, but I don't want to be thinking about it all the time? That's not healthy either. Or
well, I think like for me, a lot of times I am thinking about it because I don't want to, like, I need to know how much is left so I can stay in the budget. But I think like automating things like savings to just like automate savings, if it's going to be the same every month, then you're not thinking about it. It's just happening and benefiting you, but you're not like having to spend time thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the line would be for that.
It's not something you do every day.
No, not every day. Maybe once a week.
That's good.
Maybe a little more often than that.
I would say at least once a week.
It doesn't need to be a full-time job.
No, I would say that's a good. I would say at least once a week if you're looking at your budget, aware of where things are going that month.
And especially good. Like before you buy groceries again for the month, like knowing how much you have, so it's not just like gone by week 2, because that's a bummer.
That's good. So we recommend the budget.
You have to eat rice for the rest of the month.
Rice.
The huge 30-pound bag you bought from Costco.
Number 4, find ways to bring in extra money. Side hustles.
I think Yeah, I think personally, I always think like, how can I bring in extra money without like actually going out and applying for like a real job? Like, how could you get creative, like with your own talents and abilities kind of on the side, like in your own time versus like actually adding to your calendar or your schedule?
Thinking off the top of it, we've both done a lot of side hustles throughout the years.
Yeah, and I think more at different times than others, like if we're saving for something specific or...
Yeah, and it's a balance of trick because like some of them take time away from the family, and so like I think we kind of trade off with how we do it too.
That's something for us. I think that's like really... I feel like time for us is like really important where we're not willing to give up time for a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, we could both be working an insane amount of hours a week and make a lot of extra money, but what's the trade-off is that is
then you don't see your kids or they're with babysitters or yeah. So I think that's...
But talk about some of the... I mean, as long as I've known you, you've been doing creative things to make money. Like,
I like making money.
Even, and some of them you still do. Like one thing that you do now that you did back when we first started dating was flip furniture. You'll find at a thrift store or on Marketplace or on someone's curb. I can't even... How many times that you will just be driving around and you'll come home with a piece of furniture that you found on the side of a curb that someone was throwing away. You pulled a mirror out of our neighbor's trash can the other day.
No, it was an old window. It was like a really old window and they just had it in the trash. It was like the glass was not broken. Like you can't just throw that away.
Like so many times you just come home with something in your car that you found. But what's really cool about that is you like see the potential and stuff and you can flip it for money. And you'll
that's the goal.
Paint it, sand it, whatever you do. But you've been doing that literally as long as I've known you, and you still do it.
Took a couple years off. I feel like
3 things in our garage right now that you're working on that you're gonna sell. But it's cool because it's something you enjoy, right?
Well, it's something that really, if you learn how to do it right, it doesn't take all that much time. But I feel like the return is really good.
So talk about that because I think part of this is like if you're gonna spend extra time outside of your normal job and routine to make money, you should try to do something that aligns with your gifts and talents and what you're passionate about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. For me, that's something that like obviously I enjoy. It's kind of hereditary, I feel like.
It's your parents.
We're a long line of trash stealers.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool because like I don't have that eye where like you can see the beauty in a piece of trash. And I'm like, how many times?
Not all pieces of trash.
How many times have we been driving around and you'll see a house and you will say something like, "Oh, that house is so cute." And I look at it, I'm like, it looks like I could push it and it would fall over. Like someone needs to burn it to the ground.
Is like it could be.
Yeah,
cute.
but you can see past that and the potential, and you do the same thing with a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that you're naturally good at and passionate about, and you found a way to make some extra money doing it.
Yeah.
And like for me, some of those two, like coaching, is something that I do as a side hustle and kind outside of my normal job.
Yeah, like teaching, coaching. I feel like there's both things that you...
Yeah, but I love kind of sports and I love kids and I love to coach. And so I've found a way to make it work with my normal schedule. And it's a good extra money for us, but it's also a great outlet for me and something I enjoy.
Yeah.
And something that like the kids kind of will come watch and they enjoy it. And, and it's part-time, it's seasonal, so it's not someone doing every day.
When it's not all day, it's literally in the afternoons, which that's something like anybody could do really in that. If there's a sport that they're knowledgeable about in some regard, like start in middle school,
public schools,
public school, middle school sports pay
wherever
pretty well.
Wherever you live, there are a lot of schools are always looking for coaches.
Yeah, they're short seasons, they pay well, and they do all sports. Mm-hmm. Good.
We've done all sorts. I've done DoorDash quite a bit to make extra money on and off. When like last summer was it? Our fridge went out randomly.
Done.
Yep. Just
all died. The food, had to throw it all away.
So I DoorDashed for like a week to make extra money to help buy a new fridge. And so and it stopped. And so it's not like I'm doing it all the time or obsessed.
But you got it started. And so now anytime you can just jump back in, even though you literally set it up like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You could literally just jump back in at any point, which is nice.
Yeah. I would like get the kids to sleep and then go do an hour.
Yeah.
And then, or during nap time or whatever. So there's things, I don't know, you had a list of them. What are some other ideas?
Yeah, well, I guess like just some questions you could ask yourself is like, what are your gifts and talents? Like what kind of things are you good at that maybe most people aren't? But how could you fill a need that others might have with that gift or talent? So a list we kind of came up with, and it could be a starting point. It could be, it could turn into something big, but even like lawn mowing, like you could eventually even turn it into a like full-blown landscaping business, like handyman services, DoorDash, Uber, flipping furniture, or like things like items like technology or like
if you know how to fix something and improve it, or even bike,
just finding
like think about what people leave on curbs, like and if like people, I see bikes all the time, maybe you could fix up a bike and flip it, like
there's a guy in our neighborhood that has like 50 bikes hanging in his garage. Have you seen him?
No.
They're like lined up like this. He must like fix them or something,
or hoard them.
He maybe does. I can't imagine he rides them all. But there's people that literally make full-time livings, like looking at the thrift store, finding things that are worth more than what they're selling it for, and then literally just throw it on eBay.
Or yard sales. People do that with yard sales too.
And they literally make full-time money doing that. Something that takes a little bit more time, but can be really profitable, is like starting a blog or even a YouTube channel. You could offer cleaning services, car detailing, organization services.
The other thing, we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but the other thing we've been doing a little bit recently is like investing. And so I think that's all in this too, is like if you do happen to get some extra money, or like what can you do with that will profit a good return. And
there's all sorts of different investments in like some that give you money in 50 years and some of them that give you money now.
Yeah.
If you like to bake, you could do like a cottage food license, get like the certification, and like,
do you have to be licensed to
sourdough
sell food that you make in your house?
Baked goods. Yeah, you should be.
What's that process like?
I don't know. But you have to
look
get like
into
approved.
it.
I don't know if they want to like come look at your kitchen or what. Make sure you're clean. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I feel like that's something you could totally do from home if like you're good at making bread or good at baking or anything like that. Even like tutoring or like virtual assistant type stuff, like just assisting people that have larger businesses.
Tutoring's a great one.
Yeah. Teaching like piano or guitar, or, I don't know. Even like life coaching. I actually think that's something you would be good at, is like just taking on a few like clients throughout your week where it's like you're helping them work through big things.
Is that a certification you can get, life coaching?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, things that are flexible that you can work into your normal schedule that bring in extra money, and again, that align with what you're already good at.
Yeah, or like things you enjoy, so it doesn't feel like a big thing. And if you have kids, like thinking through like how could I do something that the kids can be around while I'm doing it. It doesn't have to be like, okay, kids, I have to leave.
Yeah, because you'll be in the garage painting furniture and they're riding their scooters in the driveway or whatever.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle, but we're trying. We're doing it. We're trying our best. Yeah. One thing that we forgot to mention earlier that we wanted to touch on was just kind of in our process of like working through how to handle our money, just feeling like we've always been like, okay, we need to make more money, but also like, why would God bless us with more income when we can't even handle what he's given us? Yeah. I think that's kind of been a realization, and not to say he wouldn't bless us with more, but just like, how do we really handle well what he's given us so that we could handle more? Yeah,
but that's a good transition. So let's talk to number 5, because I think this is the most important one, and hopefully people are still watching at this point. But yeah, I think just how, and this is something that you read a book on recently, and you can talk about that, but just how should believers view money and the money that we have? Like just a mindset shift of, doesn't necessarily matter if you have a lot or not, be like, how do we view it? And I think the answer to that question is we view it as the Lord's. Yeah. And it's not our money. It's what it's his, it's what he's given to us and entrusted us with. And when you view it that way, I think in a lot of ways it takes pressure off, but it's also just like a good realization to have. And so I love what you said of like gratitude, like having, even when you feel like you don't have enough, you wish you had more flexibility, more room, but like I do have enough, and like being grateful for that. Yeah. And I've heard a pastor at church said that before. Is like, if you're not grateful for basically what you said, if you're not grateful for what you have, why would you be blessed with more? And so that's not why you should ultimately be grateful, but just having that idea. So just changing that mindset of this is the Lord's money. And then I would say the last thing is like, so the whole topic of this is like, how do we survive? How do we be more frugal? And this is going to sound so counterintuitive, but like give generously. Yeah. Even when you don't think you can. And that sounds so backwards. And for me, it took me so long to get over that. But like for the longest time, we didn't really early on in our marriage.
Well, we just thought like, oh, we don't have enough to give. But yet we probably bought other things that we shouldn't have done. We shouldn't have bought.
Yeah.
And we could have used that money to give. But I think I think so often it's like, oh, we don't have the money to give. But I think the Bible talks about giving so often and like
generously giving.
Yeah, generously giving. And I think even if we don't have enough, but say we want to give like $200 a month, like maybe we need to find a side hustle to make $200 a month to cover that. You know, like if it's that important, like
if you feel led.
Yeah. I mean, if the Bible talks about giving being so important, then like we should be putting in the work to make it happen.
And I think we view it, you were talking about like passive, use that word earlier. And it just came to mind. I think we talked about it. A lot of times we feel like tithing or giving is this passive thing where you set it up and you forget about it. Yeah. You're like, well, I'm doing my 10%. I'm good. And that's great. Like 100% do that, give 10%. But then when needs come up and you hear about a friend or if the Lord tugs on your heart and you feel like we should give to that at least a little bit or whatever, like do it, like act on that. Like, and I think that's something we've been trying to grow in recently. And it's funny because you read this book like a month ago and then we had a long conversation about giving, and something that you really like to do and are good at it is like meals for people.
I try. I feel like it's a whole thing.
It's hard, yeah. But like, and then we were like, well, man, whenever a need comes up and we can make somebody a meal, let's just do it. And then this past month, I think we made more meals for people.
So many meals,
than
so many
ever before.
things.
So it was like the Lord was kind of like, all right, do it. And we had so many opportunities. And what I love about you though is like you have this big heart where it's like serve, and like here's a need, let's do it. And I think the Lord sees that, and I don't know that, again, not financial experts, but like if you feel led by the Lord to give and you do it, like you're not going to run out of money. You know?
Right. No, I had someone say one time, like, you'll never be poor because you gave. And again, like, sure, I can't guarantee that, but I think it's just the premise of like,
if you're partnering with the Holy Spirit with your finances and the Lord's leading you to give, like do it, and you're not gonna, you'll have enough.
You're never gonna be harmed from giving, I guess is what they're saying.
And there's so much like blessing that comes with that, and it's just, it's a fun thing to do. Like being able to bless people is awesome.
Well, in this book that I read recently, it's called Simple Money, Rich Life. And it's
pretty
easy read. I mean, they also have a podcast. I read it in like 2 days because I thought it was so interesting.
And you're not like a big reader, but you did.
I've been working on that. I've read like 4 books this year, which that is huge. Except I was feeling like, oh, it's still the beginning of the year. It's not. But 4 books is a record for me. So
it's because we bought book lights.
We did, because our light is always off because there's a baby in our room. So we're like trying to keep him asleep. So
book
having
lights made us good readers. It's like $5 on Amazon.
Yeah, it's very much worth it.
It's good.
It's the only reason I've read.
But you're the one who reads.
They just talk about like having a seed fund, they call it, and basically like you're allotting like in your budget, like in your categories, there's seed fund, and it, you know, you could put in $5 a month, $10 a month, I don't know, whatever you want. And then every time a need comes up, you need to take someone a meal, or like they were even counting like a birthday party, or I don't know what else, like just someone who needs money, or someone who needs a meal, or I don't know, maybe their kid needs clothes. I don't know, any sort of need that you could ever want to fill, you just take it from that fund. So it's like sitting there waiting almost.
Yeah.
But
you work that into your budget, right? So it's
you work it into your budget to add to it every month, but then it's just like a savings account. So then you can kind of just like freely give from that, knowing that's exactly what it's such for. Such a cool idea. Because I think before it was like, okay, yes, we would love to do that, but it's going to come out of our grocery amount that is for us, or it's going to come out of our miscellaneous,
and that is, and it's all the same pot of money, right? But it helps with that mindset shift of
this money is for
I'm not going to touch this. This is for giving. And then then it's almost like you hear something come up, like, "Pool, I got money for that," and it helps with that giving mindset. I love that idea.
Good. Yeah, like you could literally even just give someone cash, you know, like you could build it up, or you could deplete it every month, whatever.
And pray about it. It's like, Lord, I have this money. Who needs it this month? Like, I want to give, like, and then see who the Lord highlights. And maybe it's not even a need that was voiced. And that's really cool too. Cause you're like, hey, cool, God told me to give you this money. And they're like, oh my gosh, you know, like
I've heard so many stories. I feel of like people that are like, I needed $510, and someone's like, here's 500. I don't know if you need this, but here's $510. And that only happens
because people have the mindset of, this is the Lord's money.
Yeah.
What should I do with it? And when people are partnering with the Holy Spirit, with their finances, there's such cool things that happen.
Yeah. No, that book, I would definitely recommend reading it or listening to their podcast if you're not a reader, I guess. But even if money interests you at all, I feel like it's an easy read.
Yeah.
But it's not so much like about like the numbers of money. It's more so just like our posture, I feel like, and just how do you
mindset.
give. And their whole premise is like make more, make more, save more,
so you can
give more. Yeah. So they're like, their goal is to like make as much as they possibly can, but simply so they can give more and more away.
Give more and more. Yeah.
I think they give like 41% of their income away right now or something, and not
they've
in a way
increased
to brag,
their
but
giving percentage every year.
Yeah, I think
from 10%.
Well, I think they give their age is what they felt called to do, and so, but they're giving like so much of their income away, but not from like a bragging standpoint, but of like, look what God could do. We can give away that much, and He still provides for us.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like what we were talking about before, it's like we're just like managers of all this stuff. It's not really ours. And I think that comes into play in both the positive and the negative of like how disrespectful to be like, this isn't enough. Like, I don't have enough when it's not even ours. Like, we're just managing it for someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
But then also from the positive standpoint of like being grateful for like, wow, you've given us so much. I think that book talks about like, I thought it was like if you make 50,000 or more or something, you're in the top like 4% of the world. Or if you're in a climate controlled room, like you're so blessed compared to the rest of the world. I think that was just such good perspective too, of like, we might feel like, oh, I really want to buy that thing, but I just can't. And it's like, but look at what you already have. Like your laundry's piling up. Yeah. You have so many clothes. Like your dishes are dirty. Yeah. You have people and you have food to eat. And I think like that's such a good adjustment. I found was really helpful for us.
Attitude, heart posture of gratitude and empathy and perspective. All that's really important. That's good.
Deuteronomy 15:10 says, give generously to Him and do so without a grudging heart. Then because of this, the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in everything you put your hand to.
So I love that too. It's like, why are we giving? We're not giving so that we'll be blessed, or giving because we have to. It's like giving because the Lord told you to, and you want to help somebody else out, and I love the word generously. Even when you feel like you can't or you shouldn't or you don't know, but you feel led to, just do it.
Yeah. When I think there's been a few times where someone has given like to us in a way that is like overly generous, like where it just feels like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to like thank you. Like that's a huge gift. And I think like that goes a really long way.
And it's so fun to be able to do that for other people.
Yeah.
It really
just
is
like
fun.
Write them a check for whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. We've been able to do that a few times kind of in like a tithing way. And it's just.
People have done it to us. And it's really cool.
Very rewarding.
So yeah, good. Anything else? If you got nothing else from this, the last point was good.
Yeah.
More important than our Costco debate. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for watching the Outnumbered podcast with Joey and Alleigh. We'll be back. See you next time.